my true love gave to me a new heifer coat and green. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 front teeth and a new heifer coat and green. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
Can you, shut up?
It's the One Star Cowboys podcast, post-game edition. I have John Machota, Saad Youssef, Kent Garrison here. I'm Kevin Turner. Recording this on Monday night this time after the Cowboys got a 26-24 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. And I don't know, man. Look, the defense flying around, hard hits, an entertaining game. I still thought with about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, this is really going to work its way to a 27-26 Buccaneers win. It kind of felt like it was going to go that way for me. And I'll be darned if the Cowboys defense wasn't making plays. So, John, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on a kind of a weird one last night?
It was a weird one, but it is pretty impressive how the Cowboys have been able to take away the ball these last few weeks, and particularly in this game, just the way they were able to do it late. And then the way that they did it, I mean, just literally ripping the ball away from an opponent that has way more on the line than you do. You already know before the game starts that you're eliminated from playoff contention. And so you're also playing a team that isn't very good at home. And you're a team that you're leading your division, and you badly need this win. And so didn't get off to a hot start. The Bucs didn't, and to have a chance to win that game late, it was just kind of surprising to me that the Jordan Lewis interception, it's his best NFL interception in his 8-year career. He said it was his second best of his career because the one-hander he had at Michigan against Wisconsin, no question. That's one of the best interceptions I've ever seen in my life. So that will always be number one for him, he said, as it should. But in the pros, that thing was nasty to just basically steal that ball. And then the same thing with Deron Bland to end the game with that takeaway. So those are the two big things that stand out for me. I need to apologize to Baker Mayfield. They had us do these takeaways right after the game, and Saad and I each had to have a takeaway also about the Bucs because we don't have a Bucs writer full-time covering the team. Mm-hmm. And I was critical of Baker, and then this morning when I woke up, went back, looked at some stuff because I really wasn't focused on the Bucs angle of it after the game, knowing that you're going to get Jerry Jones and other story topics and things like that, obviously players in the locker room. I was like, I really don't know how much more he could have done. And I think I set the bar too high because he had been so good in high school, college, and even his previous pro game there. But looking back on it, I thought Baker played pretty damn well. I mean, he had drops. That interception's not on him. Obviously, that fumble at the end isn't on him. And so he's obviously a good player. And I think he did enough for them to be in a spot to win. I think maybe I was a little bit critical right when the game ended because I'm so used to opposing quarterbacks having good games against the Cowboys this season at AT&T Stadium. But I don't know. I thought he was pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, and, first to build off of that last point that John made, it kind of felt like the anti-Cowboys home game because a lot of times when they've gotten blown out by the Saints or the Ravens or the Lions or whoever at AT&T Stadium, a line that the coaching staff has always kind of repeated is, well, it's because the game got away from us at the beginning and then it just spiraled from there. And I just think about that 4th and 6 or 4th and 3, whatever it was that Sterling Shepard dropped on the first drive, and just how differently. I mean, it was a big swing because the Cowboys went down and either scored a touchdown or a field goal, but they scored on that next drive and went up 10-0. So I do think about just Baker. There was nothing he could have done on that. So I agree with John. I thought Baker was fine. My biggest takeaway though is if you were someone that was like Team Tank, then really getting the number 1 pick in Travis Hunter was would be obviously the best case scenario. That ended when you beat Washington. And to me, aside from getting the number 1 overall pick in Travis Hunter, what the Cowboys are doing right now is the best case scenario for the future of the team. The way that they're playing right now, we can talk about the effort and the buy-in and all that stuff, but there's just a style of play that they're exhibiting, and it's crazy because all of a sudden it just shows you how much we use hindsight, because when they were struggling, a lot of people were like, well, the injuries. They're more banged up now than they were maybe like 5 weeks ago. And so and they're 4-1 in their last 5 games. You know, I don't know if I'll just say it. It's kind of interesting that Deron Bland comes in. I know we've talked about this before. I don't know if John wouldn't want me to say it, like, you know, because I'm not trying to blast a player here. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, talk anything about Trayvon Diggs or anything like that, because it does coincide weirdly with him only playing 1 game in the last 5. But Deron Bland comes in, and I don't think that one cornerback flips an entire team's fortune. I think a quarterback could do that, but not a corner. But it's kind of, I even asked Zimmer this question today when we talked to the coaches. That play that Deron Bland made at the end, that's a play that cornerbacks were not making for the Cowboys when Bland wasn't in. I mean, the Cowboys would be fortunate if that was a tackle, let alone attack the ball, strip it, and end the game. And so there's a different style of play and tenacity that you're seeing with these players. Maris Leofau fits that bill as well. That takes nothing away from Overshown, who was absolutely balling out. But I just think the style of play the Cowboys are playing is really impressive.
Yeah, it's where it was important, I think, for one of these games, too, to feel like it was a decent opponent, playoff caliber opponent. And Tampa Bay may not be going to the playoffs now. We'll see. They have a ways to go. But, like, because I thought this in my head, what do you attribute the Cowboys' success in this little span since Thanksgiving? And is it the offense? Is it the defense? Or it was the schedule until,
one person
Tampa Bay?
To me. It's one person for me. It's Micah.
Yep.
Micah Parsons.
Which goes to the defense.
12-5, 12-5, 12-5. He's out. They go 1-3 in those games. In the games he's played, they're 6-5. Like Jordan Lewis, I'm at his locker after the game. He's being asked a bunch of questions about the interceptions. Obviously, a bunch of questions coming about the takeaways and why have they increased. And he lists off a couple things, and then he goes, "Huh. Also helps to have Micah Parsons back." And it's so true. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he really has that type of an impact.
And all the other names that you would throw out in addition come back to Micah's impact, because I think Cooper Rush has been phenomenal, and he had a really great game. But quarterback's best friend is a good defense that's able to take the ball away, rush the passer, and do all those things. So I think, and a running game, which, hey, mad props to Cooper for being able to, do that without a running game support yesterday, although he was going against the 30th ranked pass defense, but still impressive. But I do think it all stems back to Micah Parsons, because I think the defense changing its tide has helped Cooper Rush play. Because, hey, that was Cooper Rush playing against the Houston Texans and the Philadelphia Eagles too before this 4-1 stretch. And Micah played in both of those games, but those were his first 2 games back from his injury. Once he got into a groove, the defense has changed, the turnovers have come, and Cooper Rush has been playing better, and the offense has been playing better.
And the other thing is, you mentioned the injuries. So I also bring up, like, I'm sorry, all injuries are not created equal. Like, it's such a storyline on like how many guys are on injury reserve for the Lions right now, and how it's lining up with, like, the only team that's had more is McCarthy's Packers team that won the Super Bowl. And so correct me if I'm wrong, KT, but, like, I really don't care about the numbers as much as tell me who the players are. Because I go back to that Packers team, I'm just like, Rodgers was out there. Woodson was out there. Matthews was out there. All the receivers were out there. Like, so they lost Ryan Grant. Who's the next most impactful player? It's probably like an offensive lineman. It wasn't Aiden Hutchinson. I'll promise you that right now.
Yeah, he goes no lineman going that far back. Yeah. And look, this happens to everyone. Like we said, a bunch of teams get just demolished by injuries, especially when they've added a game and they're doing games on Thursday nights and Christmas Day on a Wednesday with 3 days rest. Like, injuries are happening. So Tank Dell, just, what a freak injury that was right there. It's just examples. Like, this happens to everyone. It's what it is. We've known that forever. And sometimes some teams are a little more snake bitten than others are. To me, though, I kind of looked at everything, 'cause my headline from last night was, you go into that game, you knew that you were eliminated from the playoffs, but that didn't change how I thought they were going to play in that game. I didn't think the effort was going to be any different based on that news that they got. My headline from that game, outside of what I saw was a defense flying around, and it has been for the last month, was Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy in the locker room. And I hate to take it there 15 minutes into this thing, but I do think it's huge, and I think it's important, and I think the future of Mike McCarthy, and if you want to even go to Mike Zimmer, I know he spoke today, we can. Feels like he's our coach next year, which is so easy to say right now, right? But I was thinking about this real quick, because remember our mailbag episode last week? We had a question from a guy named Andrew, and Andrew just asked, when we throw around, and by we I mean everyone throws around losing the team or quitting on the head coach or quitting on the team, and he was like, is that just something people say? Like, how often does that really happen? And I'm having a hard time outside of the New York Giants finding a single team in the NFL that's just quit. Okay, I'm just not.
Yeah, there's levels to this.
There are,
of course, just completely not trying, whatever, blah 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 blah. You go out and don't start Cooper Rush and start Trey Lance. There'll be different things that will come along and stuff. That's way different than the way they played last night.
Yeah,
that's not
no doubt.
They didn't quit. No, they were fighting. They were fighting like that, like playoffs were on the line. There's a big difference when you watch those games. So of course, yeah, I'm not sitting there saying that like, it's great that they're still trying. Yeah. It's so cool that they try. Good for them. Like, well, I know, right? That should be the bare minimum. But they were fighting. They were trying their best to try and win that football game. And I don't think that in any aspect of the game that I would go against that. But because you brought up that post game thing, I just have to say this. I actually, after the game was over and I got back up to the press box, my percentages actually went down that Mike McCarthy's coming back. I thought that was kind of almost the stage thing with the camera there. The way Jerry came out of the locker room was very praising of Mike and stuff like that. But then as he walks off, Ed Warder asked him about, so when you'll make a decision type question like that. I don't have it exactly in front of me, but I tweeted it out. And Jerry was the same way he's always been, very non-committal on it. And you're not really going to be bidding against anybody else to where this is like a Dak contract thing. Like you can't, like, if you want Mike McCarthy back, you can bring him back. And he is always, Steven as well. Steven today on 105 through the fans, same exact way. They always tiptoe the line when the praise is high, but they always tiptoe the line when it comes to like making the decision on the future and stuff like that. And so I'm not saying it went down a lot, but my percentages actually did go down a little bit after seeing that and after the way Jerry came out of the locker room and just every answer he gave was like some type of a praising of Mike. I was like, ooh, this is a little bit too much. And then the last piece I factor in the puzzle that puts this together for my thoughts on this were, so before the game on the pregame show, the way Mike McCarthy sounded, like when he was doing his normal pregame interview, obviously that's right after he learns that, Washington wins and that they're eliminated. It certainly sounded like somebody that knew this was not good for his future. It already had me feeling one type of way. And then when I asked Jerry after the game about that feeling of being eliminated, he specifically brought up that him and Mike had a meeting in his office before, and that the tone of the meeting and the feel of the meeting was like as if someone had just died, like they had just lost a loved one. So that's why I'm just like, if Jerry's in that pregame meeting, just being like, Mike, it's fine. This isn't going to factor in any way. Like you're coming back. Like we'll work this out or whatever like that. I don't think you're saying all of that. So I actually don't, as much as I get it. I posted that video. My brother actually sent it to me. I was in the locker room when it happened and he sent me that off the TV copy. And so I posted it and I actually thought right away, I was like, man, that seems really forced. Like we're really trying something here. And a lot of responses are what you said, KT, like people thinking that, oh, well, that means he's coming back. I don't really necessarily feel that way. That's not my reaction to it, at least.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I went back and because John told me about the McCarthy thing, and I listened to it, and it's hard to decipher that between the gut punch of not making the playoffs versus is this about your future? Like that's a little bit of a hard line. It could be both. It could be, but I will say everything that went down yesterday like could be taught with Jerry Jones in psychology classes in universities. Cause I just like, there's so many mind games and it was just so weird. He walked out of the locker room praising Mike McCarthy. And then every single answer ended with praise for Mike McCarthy. And I agree. I think I had a similar reaction to John where I was like, it just feels off. Like something about this feels weird. But look, the Cowboys know that Mike McCarthy, the one thing I will say that I do believe on face value from Jerry and Steven, I do believe they think Mike McCarthy is a good football coach. They say that, and I think they believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think like that's part of also leaving the door open a little bit where it's like, hey, if you can't get someone that you might be looking at or pursuing or whatever, like I don't think they would hate having Mike McCarthy back, but I do think they are leaving their options open with everything.
Yeah, and that's where you go. Like, this is interesting because this all just turned when you started beating the Washington team. Let's see, the Giants on Thanksgiving, and then the Panthers.
This was the best win, though. This was
absolutely the best win. Yes, and I think that's why that's actually created something. It's put a little meat on the bone, if you will, for the Eagles game next week.
Well, you know what else helps it too is that there's not that obvious candidate. You know, if we're living in the Bill Belichick is someone that Jerry loves and he just got let go, or Sean Payton's still out there and everybody loves him, or even a John Gruden pre-email thing. There's a lot, but there's not really that person out there that anybody is like, yeah, no, it's got to be this person. It's got to be this. Like, so that factors in too, not having that candidate, because frankly, I mean, I'm definitely actually, I can't even say that. I'm pretty equal between being an NFL college football fan, and it's very similar to the whole Ohio State lost again to Michigan. You got to fire Ryan Day. All right, so who's got you excited as the next Ohio State coach? You start looking around, and you're like, ugh, I don't know that it's really that much better. You know, so that factors in your mind too, that there isn't that obvious next person.
Okay, so why am I having? I've had a couple of thoughts about Zimmer in my head. Is something that I could see Jerry doing, and I don't love that personally. And I think
far greater chance of McCarthy getting a new deal than Zimmer being their next head coach. Far greater. It's not even in the same.
I agree, but it's just,
to be honest, today the way Zimmer sounded today, like I don't even know if it's a sure thing that he's coaching next year.
Yeah,
just FYI.
The other thing is too, what if McCarthy is asked, okay, you can stay. Here's a contract offer, 3 years, whatever, but we're going to bring in another OC. And not that they have a bunch of names ready to go, but like, how would Mike, even as a free agent, technically, like, how would Mike handle that? This is why this conversation is fascinating.
I think it depends on what other options he has around the league. I mean, do the Saints tell him like, hey, here's a 5-year deal, you're the OC, play caller, head coach, and then Jerry's like, hey, here's a 2-year deal, hire a new OC and things like that. Then I think if Mike has options, like, I think that's a different story. But if he doesn't, then who knows? I mean, he might be willing to do that. But when I look back at all of the stuff, because we talk about press conferences being just a routine monotony type thing, one of the things that really stands out this entire season is him saying that he regretted the way that things went down with Kellen Moore, the way that he had to like inherit. He wouldn't do that again. He said, I think his quote was like, it's not regret, like, or things like that, but he wouldn't do it like that over again, which is the definition of regret. But I think that really stands out to me as one of the key points of press conferences this year.
KT, if he's calling plays from day one, are we even debating on if he's coming back after 5 years?
No, I
don't think so either.
No, and I think it's fresh for whatever reason. The other thing I just call like him getting, it sounds weird to say, but almost bailed out by a lot of the noise that is not centered on the first 2 months of this team.
It's pretty wild.
Injuries, Dak, excuse after excuse, the Sun. How many stories do you want to come up with? There's one every week, you know? And injuries are being the paramount thing there. And I always felt like that was always going to give him a bit of a... But look, I'm openly speaking as a person who thinks most likely bringing back McCarthy... you guys know how I feel. I don't think McCarthy should be the head coach of this thing. I didn't think he should have been the head coach this year. But that's different. I also don't have a bunch of names ready to go right now. What I do think you should do is hire more. You should interview more than 2 people and be willing to break the bank for that coach if needed. And it's like the Cowboys haven't really operated that way. So you also got to be realistic with what you're dealing with, and that is the franchise we're dealing with. Look, Mike, dude, it wouldn't be crazy at all if they went 12-5 next year with McCarthy back. Like, that's not an insane thing. But
like I told Saab,
getting back to the playoffs, like, what are we?
That's what I told Saab before the game. I go, there's 2 different buckets that you're dealing with here. One is, yes, it's admirable the way the team has fought under adverse situations, and when the season has been so ugly, it could very easily this could be a 5-win team, you know. But I got this other bucket over here. That's the not winning in January bucket. what is anything done here? Because like even the way you started off the show talking about, like the way with like fans can perceive it, I can see how a bunch of fans wouldn't care about them fighting back against the Bucs because they're like, yeah, we've seen this team plenty of times, whether it be put up big stats or play well against teams when the season's already over or that team's doesn't have anything to play for. And they're just these kind of like empty wins type thing. But it's like, it's about what is this team going to do in January? Are they closer to getting the goal done of making a deep run in January? And I don't know if there's anything you saw this year that you're just like, oh yeah, no, they're definitely closer. Yes. Like you cannot say that.
Well, if they blow out Philadelphia and Washington the next 2 weeks, like,
well,
you could see in an alternate universe, this team would have been ready to go in January.
And that's why we do podcasts every week. And I'll have another take if that happens. Go into Philly and beat Philly, and then we'll talk. I'll have some real thoughts on that one. The whole idea of playing underdog, going in there. They obviously need to keep winning. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But man, that would be wild. I will say also, by the way, we need to bring this up. Did anybody have 26-24 as a score prediction?
Oh no, I don't think so.
Because that was going to hurt me more than you. Because remember, I told Saad. Because Saad he said the Eagles would lose to Washington.
25-24, I think.
And I said I would give Saad whatever I was giving to the loser there. So I got kind of nervous. Hey,
yeah,
but really I wasn't that nervous because I was too busy celebrating at that outcome. Sorry, Cowboys fans, but I have some other alternative reasons why I might have been excited about that.
Yeah, there's Cowboys 27, Bucs 24 from our guy LKC Light over in the Discord. Where if you're listening now and you didn't know about it, we have a Discord server. You can get on there and put your picks in, and if you nail the score, then me and John will pay you some money. So straight up, gotta have Venmo. That's the disclaimer there. Just got that out. One more thing. So like the game, the game's going on. It's like I'm sorry, I lost my thought because I was looking at my Discord for a second. So this is all. Oh yeah, I was going to mention the
ask about McCarthy, KT.
Yeah.
If he does come back, what's the likelihood that he takes a step back and hires an OC?
Like, is he being told to do that now? Like, he ain't giving it up. There's a part of me that thinks he doesn't think anything's wrong.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it would be mistaken to just run it back next year. Just say, oh, well, Dak's healthy. We'll try it again. Because Jerry even said himself multiple times, when Dak was in there, we weren't good enough.
Let me take
just not having Dak.
Let me give you an answer, Kent, by asking you guys a question. As Jerry gets older, he's obviously very visible, whether it's talking during the week on the radio or after games. I mean, he's as visible as any owner in sports. So you kind of know where he stands. There isn't this, oh man, we haven't seen him in like a couple seasons, like he's not Woody Johnson, he's always around. And so because of that, there's obviously these narratives of as he gets older, people will say things like, oh, he's becoming Al Davis or he's losing it and stuff like that. So my question to you is Jerry losing it or has he still got his fastball in your mind if he keeps Mike or if he moves in another direction? Which one would tell you that he's still got the fastball? That you're still like, well, no, I wouldn't say that he's completely out of it. I think he's still got something there.
I mean, moving on from Mike would be a fastball move for sure. But even keeping Mike and bringing in a new OC, I think would be, show that he at least recognizes we need to take this thing in a different direction while still keeping some continuity.
But what about if it's him, the same deal I'm talking, where he's still the OC, just what it has been this year and last few?
That'd be a no fastball. That'd be a high and outside, John.
Yep.
Yeah, and okay, but let me say this, Kent, to your question. To me, like you're talking, and I understand where you're coming at from the OC change or head coach change or all that. And I hate to be this guy because I feel like this is true. it starts with Jerry, though. Like, when you talk about running it back, like, you have to have a better offseason. You have to have a more active free agency, and you have to do other things. Like, it's not just about, are you bringing Mike back, or is there going to be an OC change? That's a big part of it. Don't get me wrong, but you can't, if you get a new head coach, or if you get a new OC and Mike's still the head coach, and you saddle him with a washed up running back again, and you saddle him with all these things that that happened this year, instead of what happened the year before when you traded for Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore and all that kind of stuff, like, you have to do something different too. There's plenty of blame to go around, but when you talk about running it back, to me, that starts with the front office, and Jerry has to change some approach with his free agency as well.
When you get when Mingo gets a full offseason under his belt,
just wait.
Just wait. When you get him in their program,
the man hasn't got a target in 2.5 games.
It's like you can't just like pick and choose how you're going to attack the job. I'm going to attack the job, and okay, so I'll interview 2 guys, and I'll take free agency off, whatever you can say. That it's like, okay, if you're going to mow your yard, you have to mow the entire yard. You can't just mow one strip and then a strip here, or maybe your favorite parts of the yard. Well, guess what? The grass is going to grow in the spots you didn't mow. Like, you have to do the job, and it hasn't been done. So
you should put that on a T-shirt. The grass is going to mow. Or the grass is going to grow.
Grass ain't going to mow itself. Yeah.
Yes, like the free agency patch is it's going to, what, the city, has driven by, and they've issued a warning. You got to mow that, man. You're going to pay a fine. Yeah.
What if you just mow the front yard? I mean, the house is still going to look pretty decent. People are going to have to kind of look to see how bad the backyard is.
Yeah, well, I know. It's just
it might look good from the street,
That's a very good Cowboys analogy right there.
I'm a recent homeowner, so that's all it is. I guess I'm just thinking about it.
You can mow a little star into it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, it's still growing in the other places. You have to do your job, and that's where I don't know. The fastball question. That also ends up being a personal preference to any person listening to any Cowboy fan. Who do they want to be the head coach? Like, okay. For anyone out there who wants without the popular name, it ain't Ben Johnson right now, because we just know that Ben Johnson's not going to come here. Is Vrabel, right? Okay, Vrabel fans, who do you want to run the offense? Like, you got to see some names because you're likely going to be unhappy about that and probably bitch about that unless the Cowboys are incredible. Now, there's the name. Ben Johnson would get me going. Joe Brady would get me going. Like, those are all things that I would want, but that's different for every Cowboy fan out there. They're going to have a different take on that. And
but I'd say, again, there's levels to this. I'd say that what you said about the Ben Johnson thing would be that's your biggest bucket. I think that's the move that would excite the fans the most,
especially if the Lions just go finish this off.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not only because of what the Lions would do, but when you look at the offense, John and I were talking about this last week. I think the Joe Brady thing is, man, like, it makes me hesitant because you don't have Josh Allen here. And so, like, you don't have, whatever, like, some of this is the same conversation with Eric Bieniemy, and the same conversation with Josh McDaniels, and the same conversation with Bill O'Brien. Whereas, like, if you're doing that with Jared Goff, I think you could do it with Dak Prescott. That's to me, that's the other thing, that's different, is that personnel change could be really drastic.
I think I would rather take a swing at something like that than what feels, and careful what you ask for, I guess, but what feels safe. And McCarthy, despite a very good track record as a head coach in terms of winning games, feels so safe. Like, not even that different than Garrett, to be honest. He's a better coach than Garrett, but, like, it feels very safe. And I think Cowboys fans are just ready to try something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
you see a lot of, like, even last year, after 12-5 year, dude, people wanted McCarthy gone. Like, it's just what it is. It is interesting, though. Like, okay, so McMillan looks like he could play, right? Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are both absolute studs. Like, you start to go like, okay, well, can you make this work with CeeDee Lamb and then Jalen Tolbert? And then, okay, Jalen Brooks, oh, he got hurt. Okay, Flournoy makes a play. And then you start going, okay, we could use some more offensive firepower too. When you see the defense flying around, you go, it's the offense. So That's what I want, but, that's probably enough of that. I think it's a good talk about that will continue the future of the Dallas Cowboys and how they're going to coach and all that. Who's going to be their coach? I don't know, man.
I do think opinions can sway based on what happens on Sunday at noon in Philly. I do think, I'm not saying inside the organization, but I'm just saying even court of public opinion, they go in there in Philly, Jalen Hurts is playing, he's healthy, and they go out and win in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is competing for the number 1 seed. I know the Tampa Bay win was nice, but you go do that on the road in Philly, and I think suddenly you might get some people getting on board.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I'll go to you first, John. How long does Jerry think he can sit on this after the season? Like media availability after the Washington game. All right, we're gonna need to make a call. Okay, we'll take a couple days, and then it comes down that week. Like, I mean, what's the layout of how it goes down if it does go down? Any announcement on the future of McCarthy?
Yeah, I don't think it's definitive at all because of the fact of we saw with Jason Garrett that was so bizarre how that dragged out for a week or so, where you're like, so he's still going to the facility? Like, wait, what? So because of that, it could drag on for multiple weeks, and it wouldn't surprise me. Whereas like I've said, if there was that obvious, like so many years in the past, it was just always something about Sean Payton, and if he was available, I think that might move quickly if it was such an obvious hire like that. But because I don't think there is the obvious person, Mike might hang out for a week or so and get a chance to sell Jerry on a new deal. Or, I mean, you can't rule out any of this stuff with the Cowboys.
They are incredible.
I just looked it up just because John mentioned it, but the last game of the 2019 season was played December 29th against Washington at home, by the way. So that's a little bit of interesting history repeating itself. But Jason, the first report I'm just seeing on a quick Google search was January 2nd that Cowboys going to part ways, but the official announcement came down January 5th. So December 29th was the last game. January 5th was the official announcement. So about a week.
Come in and take advantage of the amenities still for another week if you'd like. Get some that good food down there, work out.
The underwater treadmill.
Underwater treadmill. I mean, get your last week of it. While you clean. I was at one of the most surreal times for me. I'm sure y'all have had experiences like this, but I remember walking into one night to watch film, walking into Valley Ranch, and Bill Callahan is walking out with his box of stuff, just like any normal person who gets fired. And then everyone is up, in the building, 5 or 6 stories up, watching them carry their box of stuff out to the car. But I just remember like, oh, hey, coach. Oh, no, he got fired today. Okay, well, I guess I'll just walk in there. God, Valley Ranch was great.
He said, F you, KT.
Hey, he did. I was like, well, good luck with your future helping your son out in Tennessee. That was I called that a decade ago. So you have this game. Cooper Rush is, I thought, as Saad pointed out, a top 10 backup quarterback in the league. 2 weeks ago, Saad called that. Cooper Rush plays pretty good. Fans are going to ask, will we see Trey Lance? McCarthy was asked that today. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
I almost said something really sarcastic.
I'm doing this for fans.
He didn't. Yeah. Okay. So he didn't say what I was thinking, but obviously, it just actions speak louder than words, and the actions are that they do not think Trey Lance is of that level that it's gonna. They clearly want to continue winning games, and they emphasize we want to continue winning games. What does that tell you about Trey Lance? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing Trey Lance. I think they're going to continue to go with Cooper Rush for these final 2 games, and that's what it's going to be. So. Yeah, I think as much as fans are, I see it all the time on Twitter talking about like, let's just see, kick the tires on Trey Lance. I think they got a good feel that, yeah, you know what? Probably shouldn't have traded a 4th round pick for this guy.
You know what? It's also like they probably don't want to draw any attention to the fact that they even made that trade by running Trey Lance out there.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be.
It's also going to be interesting for the next team that takes a chance on him because he's young. Some other team is probably going to take a flyer on him or something, and it's going to be the same conversation of like Kyle Shanahan got up and gave him away, and then Mike McCarthy, this quarterback developer, in a season that was lost, and 3 games that had no playoff implications did not put them on the field, and they're gonna be like, but we can fix them. Like,
right, and that's why
we got him.
Yeah, like behind the scenes, how funny it would be if they're just like, well, hey, you need to get him out there so it improves our chances on like the comp pick we can get. And no, us not playing him will be the best chance to get the highest of comp picks. Trust me. We don't need to show anymore. I'm not saying that any of this is being said. I'm just being hypothetical.
No, of course.
But where the season's at right now, I mean,
yeah,
the fact that he hasn't got out there at all, I mean, we got to kind of
it's amazing.
Read the writing on the wall here.
It's amazing.
And here's the other part, like the other thing that really doesn't bode well, and this is just from my opinion, when the team's playing that hard on the field, it'd be different if the team had totally been like cashed it in, and this is like, yeah, they lost in Carolina, they lost here. It's like, well, everybody's already kind of packing it in. Guys are already hurt, and they're not coming back, whatever. When they continue to fight like that, doesn't it make you think they keep putting Cooper Rush out there because that embodies what they're doing, and they don't want to send the wrong message by putting out somebody else? I mean, these are just things that I don't know. Like you can kind of, without being told, you can kind of read between the lines here.
Did you guys enjoy the trailer for the Netflix show that's coming out in 2025?
I like the song choice. I thought it fit well together with the video montage.
Wait, off the top, what was the song choice?
Mr.
All the Way Up.
Jones and me.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah, no one could stop me.
Counting
All the way up. Yeah, it would
good.
have been weird if it was Shabuzi or something.
I just thought it was funny because the emails that came out that morning on it were all about like, I can't remember how it was like worded, but it was just like, like Texas gambler, blah, blah, blah. And I remember saying something to Sad about just like, gambler? Was this thing built on like, it ends in 1996? Like, when's the gambling been going on? Like, not in the last decade, No. But it obviously you can tell by the players that are involved and stuff, like it is going to be very heavily, based on like the 90s Cowboys. There'll be modern stuff in there, no question. But the 90s glory years, I think, we're going to be the building blocks of most of the viewing. I look forward to seeing it. I know a bunch of fans aren't that pumped about it, but
yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. You always just have to watch these things through the proper lens, knowing that Jerry had creative control and all that stuff. I just got done watching the Aaron Rodgers docuseries for 3 episodes, and for what it was fine. It was the same thing.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good because it wasn't just all about on the field and everything. It was about all that other stuff. But it was the same thing with like that Patriots documentary that Robert Kraft put out. Is the same thing with The Last Dance that Michael Jordan put out. Like you just have to know what you're watching and where everything is coming from, and then I think you can properly enjoy it. But in terms of the trailer itself, I thought it was very well done in terms of putting out a 30-second snippet that could take up like 3 days of talk radio in Dallas, because you had Jerry saying the quote, "It's about more than winning," or "It's about more than Super Bowls," or whatever that quote was.
No, it's bigger than it's bigger than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bigger than wins and losses or Super Bowls. And then you had the end where he talks about it being a soap opera, and it's just
365 days a year.
Yeah, so I think those two things, that was enough to get the ball rolling on the hype and people talking and stuff like that.
Do we have a read on how many episodes it's going to be? I don't know if they put that in the press release. The NFL has declined to email me anymore. They don't like me.
They're like, yeah, we had enough footage for like 3 shows, and then we were like, I don't think that's enough. And they're like, could you throw Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor? We get 2.5 more shows out of it. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll do it. Throw him in. But when can we announce it? I don't know. Sunday in Charlotte? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, let's do that. It's perfect.
You think them asking us to get out of the elevator will make the cut?
No. When that show gets rolling, I'll share that story. I'll just bring it up right now. So
I was like, "What? Don't make me wait."
We're already late to get back up to the press box because that press conference ran way too long. So we're already like good 7-8 minutes into the start of the game. So it's not like anybody gave us a heads up on this. We find out last minute. So we also have this game we have to kind of cover. So this is back like when. So like the Cowboys would win like 12 games in a season. So like they kind of mattered. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so as we're trying to get on the elevator, go back up, there's these people way in the back with like boom mics and cameras going, "Excuse me, guys, we got to get through. We're with Netflix. We got to get up there." And just, I'm not going to say what was said, but the way we looked at them, they knew we were not going to get out of their way to give it. Like we were like, oh my God, no, Netflix.
Oh, Netflix guy.
Handing out free subscriptions. Like, we don't care. Why would I care that you're with Netflix? Like you're the Secret Service or something. Like, congratulations, great streaming service. You know what? I love the Tom Brady roast. Do more of those, but obviously that was after. But I mean, like the audacity that we would care was just so fun. I enjoyed it. It was such a good moment. Like, I just loved the crew I was with
don't
that
know,
went
John.
down. It was
And nobody moved. Nobody.
oh
Nobody
my
budged.
God, it was so good. Oh my Netflix! Wow. So like that's on the TV? Whoa. Everybody just move aside. Wow.
No one even.
This guy's got a boom mic.
Hey, you should watch that Yacht Rock documentary though on HBO. It's a good one. An hour and a half too. Not a full 3-parter, 4-parter.
I'm not opposed to the Yacht Rock.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. Michael McDonald. It's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. Check it out.
Is it better than Rodgers being faded in some of those clips?
It's absolutely better than Aaron Rodgers banging a bongo and Well, though the Aaron Rodgers thing it is fun because whatever you want to say about the guy, and a lot of it is a bit of a grift. I'll tell you what, I got his back on one thing. Brother, feel free to distance from your family. Like, what they did to him was messed up. So, granted, we don't know every detail.
Yeah.
But like for him to be I like the mindful guy. Hey, I'm just working on myself, and I've got to practice gratitude and all that. And then he's like, they went on the fucking Bachelor. No.
No, the
Why would
family
they
part
do
was,
that? It's a stupid show. He just wanted to get famous. It's like, no, I thought you were being calm. What happened?
Oh my God. Like, you couldn't find a person that had a higher opinion of him as a player during that majority of that Green Bay career and just what he's done these last 4 or 5 years. It just, honestly, you never could have. And hey, let's not act like we didn't know back then the stuff about with the brother and the family and all that. We knew that back then.
We all knew. Yeah.
But it was just like this last 4 or 5 years, like the way he's just leaned into this. Oh man, he's special.
Watching it too, though, and it's maybe why I enjoyed it a little more because it does bounce back and forth with timelines and does take you through his career, and you just watch some of the throws he's making into tight windows. By the way, Mike McCarthy, very few wide open wide receivers. When you watch the highlights there too, it's kind of amazing. Just something to think about. But you're like, Jesus, how did they only win one? It's like, oh, I'll tell you how. Mike McCarthy was the head coach of the team in the 2014 NFC Championship game. That's how. But they shouldn't have been there because Des caught it.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, like some of the stuff that they did include in that documentary, I was a little surprised. Like, but the fact that what was that championship game where they kicked the field goal when they absolutely shouldn't have down in the red zone or something like that?
Tampa Bay, 2019 or 20 or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't think they had LaFleur speak on that. But they had LaFleur in the documentary, but like they didn't have him speak on that part, and I was like, why not? Like I would love to get the retro on that. But my
memory of that when it happened in the game was that I never got the sense that Rodgers was that upset about it in the moment, but it was like they lose the game, and it was like, kicking the field goal. I mean, what are we thinking here, guys? Well, I mean, what the coach makes the calls on those? But like when the camera panned to him and all those things like that, like it was not to the level that it was turned into after the game was over. It was just such a convenient thing to kind of point to of like, that's why we lost. It was just, I don't know. I'll never be past that.
The offense wasn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard.
Right, 100%.
But I think there was also the idea though of giving the ball back to Tom Brady. So okay, what's going to happen?
And
Tom Brady's
cutting it down from
take your soul.
Yeah, and cutting it down from a 1 touchdown game to a 1 touchdown game. Like, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I thought the documentary was like he went places that I was impressed that he actually chose to go there, like his family, the COVID stuff, like some of those games, some of those losses. Like I was surprised that he went to some of those places when he could have left them out. So
I mean, it also I think speaks a little bit to Saad, we want you to talk about this in this documentary about you. No, there's no chance of ever doing that. We'll give you this amount of money. No, I'm not doing that. We'll give you this amount of money. No, I already said no. We'll give you this amount of money. Yeah, no, I'll break it all down. We'll take you right to where it happened. Blah blah blah. I mean, because I'm telling you, I haven't seen it yet, and maybe it'll blow me away. But
No,
I
it
find
won't.
it very hard to believe that it'll be anywhere near the level of, wait, you're going to allow these professional comedians to talk about this stuff with Tom Brady? Okay.
And Belichick.
And you think he was going to do that for charity? It obviously got to a dollar amount where it's like, yeah, Tom, I'll sit down. Yeah. Yeah. Do shots on the stage? Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys need.
Aaron has a sense of there's a sense of Aaron that I think he wants to be out there. So
For sure.
I don't know. And he definitely had some editorial control. I'll say this too. Mike McCarthy comes off looking really good in this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
McCarthy did come out looking real good in this. I'm glad you brought that up. That was another thing that really stuck out to me was the relationship between him and McCarthy, which was, reportedly so fractured at the end and things like that. McCarthy had a lot of not input, like he had a lot of speaking parts throughout the documentary and was very complimentary of him, and Rodgers was pretty complimentary of him too. So that's actually why I began watching it, because of the McCarthy stuff.
Yeah.
So even if you didn't have any of that behind the scenes, and all you had was just the stuff that we could see on Sunday, covering the Dallas Cowboys, just one time. That's all we need is just one example, just one time. How much do you think we would talk about some play when Dak turned to McCarthy and said, stupid effing call, and it was clear as day on the camera? You think we would just let that go and just be like, hey, it's the heated of the battle moment, guys. Everybody acts this way. Just calm down. It's not a big deal. You don't think that thing would be talked about 20 years from now? And that's without any background. You just seen that in the moment when that happened. It would be the biggest deal.
I mean, this is essentially the same roster who in their last playoff game, the big story from that game, which should have been the defense, was that Dak and CD were not on the same page
100%.
in the first quarter, and they got down 27-0. Now, the story should have been the defense sucked that game, and you got down 27-0. But it was not that. And there are other things that happened in that game, like Dak throwing a pick six. There are other things that happened in that game that should have probably superseded him and CD not being able to, whatever that was. I mean, that was the story, and they could not stop it. It was
a pretty big deal just in that Bucs, the win at Tampa, Tom Brady's last game, when Maher kept missing those extra points and Dak mouthed go for effing two or whatever like that on the sideline.
Yeah. Yeah, things weren't right, I guess. And I forgot all about that.
It was Maher, right?
Yeah, that was the year Maher had the yips, huh?
Yeah.
Well, no, that last year, though, because that was last year, the last season, that was Brandon Aubrey. So
No. I'm saying in Tampa Bay when they beat Tom Brady in Tampa.
2 years ago.
When they were just scoring like crazy, but then
he
was just missing. I was like, it had to be Maher.
2022, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was the year Maher had the yips, because that was also the year that Zeke played center on his last play with the Cowboys until the Cowboys brought him back.
Hey, but still the last play is number 21.
Damn straight. Kellen Moore's last play, Colin plays with the Cowboys as well.
So did I hear it correctly? Did I hear it correctly today that Brian Schottenheimer said he's a Hall of Fame running back?
Oh my God.
What?
Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, that was really
Come on,
interesting.
Yeah.
You look, when you use
Never a dull moment.
And I've written this in the last 3 weeks, and I think John and I actually talked about this or maybe it was someone else. I forget who I was talking to about this, but Zach Martin, future Hall of Famer, Mike Evans, to me, that's a surefire future Hall of Famer. So you have to know, you cannot throw, he didn't say arguably, potentially. Brian Schottenheimer was just and when you got a Hall of Fame running back, it's Hall of Fame? I don't even know if he's going to go in the Ring of Honor. But
I think he will, actually.
Really?
Well, remember that time he jumped over that bucket?
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Good point.
I mean,
it's Jerry's guy, man. He's on this team. He's on the roster.
You putting him in the Ring of Honor before Dez?
No. Or Romo.
See, I don't know if Dez gets in.
Dez may not get in.
I think Romo and Witten are my two surefire guys, and then Zach Martin. But
I could see them not putting Romo in too, I guess.
He
always said Hall of Fame. It's got to be Hall of Fame worthy. And so it's you gotta get that gold jacket before you can get up in the Ring of Honor. And Romo's not getting in the Hall of Fame, so
no.
and Dez isn't. Is Mike Evans getting in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
What a
been
machine.
ridiculously consistent his entire career.
Micah?
Freaking Mike Glennon at quarterback.
Mike, I would be surprised if Micah Parsons doesn't go to the Hall of Fame.
I would too.
It would. I mean, the only thing that
But
I
it's
think
early.
would keep him there would be the injury side of it. Like, obviously, that can add up. You know, you had a couple different knee injuries, things like that. But to be as productive as he is, and to be held as often as he is, and how frustrating that must be for him. And believe me, he's not alone. Believe me, that's a lot of these elite pass rushers, Aiden Hutchinson, Bosa's. You know, I get all that, but I mean, just like last night's game, man, it was. Man, that's brutal the way that some of that stuff, like, no, yeah, that dude's going to just shut down Micah the entire time by just grabbing him. Like, okay, guess if they're just letting that go, then it is what it is. But
So if let's say if Zimmer had a stomach ache and couldn't go against Washington, I'm sorry, against Philadelphia next week, who would be the defensive coordinator? Like, who would be in charge? Let's just say his tummy hurts, so he can't go.
man, that's a really good question.
Because
Maybe
I wonder
Paul?
if you could keep it together. Say it again, Son.
Would it be Paul Gunther?
Yeah, that would probably be the best bet. Yeah, just because he's got the longest history in that. Why do you know of him having a stomach bug or something?
No, I was just like, if the idea of Zimmer's
He
comments
did
today.
seem like he was in pajamas today, Saad. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
It's a festive time of year.
Yeah.
Mike Zimmer today, when he walked in the press conference, was dressed like my dad waking up while me and my brothers opened presents on Christmas Day when we were 7. I mean, did you see
Oversized hoodie. Yeah, oversized
Like,
hoodie. Yeah.
He was just missing a cig and a cup of coffee, man.
Hell yeah. I'm saying, like, if he quits, could you keep the defensive coaching staff together because you liked where this was going and you didn't want
I think you
to
go in
start
another
over
direction.
again?
Nah, you go in another direction if he doesn't want it. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
You just let Micah handpick who he wants to be.
I just heard 1,000 Cowboys fans scream Al Harris.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you guys would like to hit on before we get out of here?
I think I got pretty much everything off my chest.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll just throw out one unheralded play, if I may say.
Oh, please do. Pull back the curtain.
The one play that really just has stood in my mind for the last 24 hours has been Carl Lawson just absolutely bull rushing Tristan Wirfs on that sack. That was just again, not one of those plays that's going to get a lot of shine, or he didn't even get the sack on the play, but man, that was that was really impressive.
I was going to say the Detroit play, which is I'm just trying to get the Ben Johnson campaign going again, even though he's absolutely won't come here. But that's amazing.
Yeah, that
to
was
mess with the Bears like that. The fake fumble, stumble.
No, the best.
I
part
thought
of
Jahmyr
that-
Gibbs. I thought Jahmyr Gibbs was okay on the acting. I give him
He
a
nearly messed
C+,
it up.
but Jared Goff was A+ acting because
Gosling level.
It looks so real.
The best part about it was after the game, Goff talking about how Ben Johnson wanted him to actually drop the ball. Like, they worked on different plays, and Goff had to be the voice of reason. No, I'm not going to actually
Idiots, what if
bounce
someone's
the ball
there?
off of the grass. I'm just going to pretend, okay?
I mean,
no,
think
go ahead, just
Fumblerooski.
bounce it.
Yeah, Fumblerooski.
You think Jerry at age 80-something, who always talks about it being an oblong ball and all that stuff, is into giving $15 to $20 million to the coach that wants to put the ball on the ground?
Wait, hold on. Do you
For a trick
remember when
play?
Sean Payton did that with Drew Brees? The
Oh, it's okay with
Fumblerooski?
Sean because he's family.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because he literally snapped it back and let the ball go right by Drew Brees, and I forget if it was Reggie Bush or Deuce McAllister or Mark Ingram. I don't know which one of those running backs. They just picked it up and ran it in, and it was all planned. That was a Fumblerooski.
The most interesting thing about the Ben Johnson path is that it just isn't anything that fits in this nice box that all the national NFL people want to talk about. He's not part of any of the trees. You know what I'm saying? He's not in that Shanahan crew at all.
No.
He's this long time. He was an offensive analyst on Matt Patricia's staff. So it's not even it was this guy that Dan Campbell specifically. I mean, he was on those awful Patricia teams. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's like there isn't that like perfect, like, oh, well, he must have studied under this, and so that's why he is what he's kind of an outlier from the rest of the group.
It's like, well, it's like, oh, he got Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell and Jameer Gibbs and found a way to make Goff work and all that stuff. It's very interesting, but. I'm sure more of that. We will get back in touch later in the week, probably have a preview episode for the Eagles. Make sure you're tracking John and Saad's work over on The Athletic on social media as well. Kent Garrison, too, the Mad About Movies podcast, always popping. So make sure you're checking that out. These three guys work for The Athletic and just kill it over there. So make sure you're following them and checking out their work. Get you a subscription, all that stuff. If you don't have one already, what are you doing? But we'll be back. We'll be back. Happy holidays to everyone. I don't want to say any of the types, just happy holidays or whatever it is that you'd like to hear. Be safe. Enjoy time with your family. Unless you hate them, just make sure your phone's charged and you can just look over there, just do that. So that's just how it works for you, whatever. Everyone get through the holidays.
When you say happy holidays, and I want to be specific, it just first thing I think about is Stanley in that cold open where he's like, I've had Kwanzaa Christmas, I've had Moroccan Christmas, just give me Christmas. Just he's like, there's a black Santa in their kitchen.
Rocca
Like,
Christmas.
what do we do? yeah, Mo Rocca.
Mo Rocca.
Like, just give me Jesus in a cradle, whatever. Christmas is Christmas.
Well, that's one with that. Christmas is Christmas, like Saad said. We'll see you next time for the One Star Cowboys podcast.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a new hamper coats and green. On the second.
Can you, shut up?